All right, next I'd like to welcome Len Hardy from Northern Trust up to tell us a little bit about what they're doing with MarkLogic. So Len, thank you. So Len, I knew quite a bit about Northern Trust. I've been out to your company a couple of times and met with a lot of your people at MarkLogic World last year, but I was frankly kind of surprised to learn just how big Northern Trust is. And you're one of the largest financial institutions. You've been around for well over 100 years. I had to read this. I had to go back and double check that this was right. $11 trillion in assets under custody.
Yeah.
So you are a large financial services organization.
We are. We like to think of ourselves as either the largest small bank or the smallest large bank.
Yeah.
Right? We're somewhere in there. But we were founded in 1889. At that point, our founding principles were service, expertise, and integrity. And I'd like to think that 130 years later, those are still our principles, right? We're a very, very client-oriented company. Client service is really the hallmark of what we bring sort of to the table.
Yeah. And you and I have spoken a little bit about the framework that you use for bringing innovation into Northern Trust. Could you just share that with everybody?
Yeah, we don't like to do innovation at Northern Trust just from a technology purpose or just because innovation is cool, although it is totally cool, right? We like to do it because we need to bring a business value. We need to provide value to the business. So everything that we do, every time we go out to this neck of the woods and talk to VC firms or talk to companies like MarkLogic, we're going there with an idea of what is our problem for the business, what value are we going to bring, and how are we going to solve that problem. We're always striving to build better software, more secure software, and very importantly, deliver it to the market faster.
Right. And how do you do that? How do you identify the innovation that you want to be bringing into the company and make that happen?
We have a part of our bank. We have a private equity firm, 50 South Capital, right? And they have some very close relationships with a lot of venture capitalists right out here in the valley. So a couple of times a year, myself, my counterparts, our CTO, our head of security, we'll go out there, and it's sort of like a Shark Tank little story there, right? They'll bring in companies that are in various stages of their development. Some of them have an idea. Some of them are actually going to market, and we'll sit across the table from them and learn about what they're trying to do. And we're always focusing on a certain thing. One time we might be looking at security companies because obviously in the center of our diagram there is how do we secure our environment. It's important to every other thing we do. One time we'll be looking at continuous integration or continuous delivery tooling because we want to be faster to market, right? And a lot of times what we'll do is we'll bring those companies back and we'll do a proof of concept. And if we get in early enough, we're able to actually change the way that they're developing their software to be more enterprise friendly, right? The benefit to these companies is they're in an enterprise and they get to hear our input in terms of what would make it more conducive to them selling to other enterprises, right? So we really like to get in early with these guys and steer their development of their application or their system or their technology into a way that will really benefit us at the Northern Trust.
And what's it been like bringing MarkLogic into the organization?
MarkLogic was a lot farther along when we brought it in than a lot of the companies we're talking about, right? We have actually we're actually utilizing MarkLogic as the core to part of our architecture. And a shameless plug right now, one of my cohorts from Northern Trust, Maureen Penzenik, is a solution architect at Northern Trust. And she is going to be doing a deep dive presentation into our architecture. So I will just stay at this level. She will dive as deep as anybody wants to go with that, right? What we're doing is we're putting in an event-based real-time infrastructure. We're building a foundation for the future. The heart of that is MarkLogic as the system of record for a number of different applications that we're building within that transformative journey that we're on. So we've started this, I think, the middle of last year. It is probably a 1.5-year program. And when we're done, we're going to have an event-based, real-time, MarkLogic-driven infrastructure that we're going to be able to plug and play different applications into.
That's awesome, and I've fortunately been able to see a lot of the architecture work you've been doing, and it's really progressive, really amazing technology. And when I think about that and think about kind of the fast pace of IT, what are some of your challenges sort of keeping up with that fast pace and bringing that into a large institution like Northern Trust?
Yeah, you know what they say, the pace of change will never be as slow as it is today. Right?
Yes.
So it's only going to get worse. And I think the way that we do that is some of the things that we've talked about already. You know, we have a number of different solution architects like Maureen who work on the line, engineering, building software that's going to benefit our clients and our partners. A part of her time and the other solution architect's time is actually matrix managed into me as an enterprise architect, right? So they see the problems on the ground, right? They see the business issues that they can't solve or the hoops that they have to run through because they don't either have the right tooling or the right security in play or something that they can't deliver what they need to deliver. So that's all funneled up to me, and that's what we use as we go out and look at solutions to those problems. I will say the other thing is, the other quote that I read, which I think is very interesting, is that literacy in the 21st century is not about reading and writing, it's about learning, unlearning, and relearning, right? So the people are a big thing here. The people have to have the skill sets in order to pick up these new technologies as they come in. Long gone are the days where we're going to put together a 3-week class with a teacher and a book, and we're going to teach you guys about this thing, right? Because by the time we get that put together, by the time we hold that class, we're probably onto something else, right? Because the pace of change is never as slow as it is today, right? So it's all about being able to learn on your own. It's all about being able to network with other people, come to conferences like this, and just sort of be a self-starter.
And you know, I think the word you use, which I think is really important, is unlearning also. It's that ability to say, okay, we've done it this way for a long time, that was fine, it worked for, you know, the situation we had at the time. I need to put that aside, unlearn those patterns and do something new and different.
Yeah, I'm an old mainframer too, so.
Boy, there are a lot of us.
Yeah, there are.
Okay, great. Thank you, Len. I really appreciate you joining us here today. And as I said before, Len's going to be around. There's a lot more behind what we were just talking about, so feel free to corner Len in the hallway. I've actually had somebody already say they want to talk to you, so
Very
thank
good.
you very much.
Thank you.